Welcome to Build for Bharat, where you and I learn from the builders and makers for Bharat. Today I have with me Dr. Vivek Raghavan, who is a Chief AI Evangelist at Ekstep Foundation. He has been working on developing open source language AI components in Indian languages. Vivek, welcome to Build for Bharat.
Thanks, Sanjay. Glad to be here on this podcast.
Vivek, we started working together about 10 years ago, and you have always been enthusiastic about building fantastic tech to solve hard problems. In particular, you have been looking at how technology has failed to serve the people because it has been limited to English. So, what are you doing to address this problem?
Yeah, I think it's very important, right? The number of people for whom understand English is maybe 10-15% of the country. And beyond that, if you have to get them into the digital world, we've got to be talking or we have got to be reaching out to them in languages that are other than English. And I think that's something which is very, very important. And there's a number of exciting trends that are happening globally, right? I mean, I think that the kinds of things that are happening in language AI in the last few years has been tremendous. We want to make sure that all these gains that have been made in language AI also translate into Indian languages. And why this is important is really, today we have an app, or supposing somebody, and the app could be an e-commerce app, or it could be a government app, or it could be any other kind of app. And right now, the people who can access that app are those who are comfortable with English. And the intent is that every app should actually be available, should be able to work with people in their own language, right? In their own language through a voice kind of interface. And that's really what we want to try and achieve. But the interesting thing is that we want to build certain horizontal tech, certain open source tech. So we have components that people can use to make their solutions work in an easy way in all Indian languages. And that's the intent of where we're not there yet. But I think that we see a bunch of trends that we think that in the next year or so, we can be in a position where we have very interesting things for people to make their solutions work in Indian languages.
Now, that's wonderful, Vivek, to hear that we are looking at building open source ways by which we can get every application to be able to communicate to every person in the country in their own language. That's a fantastic dream. And thanks to you, we are now going to see it become real.
I hope so. And I think we are taking a multi-pronged strategy. The first thing that is we are actually collecting, given that, you look at AI, I think data is actually that is the core there. And we're actually going to be collecting, and we have already collected huge amounts of data in Indian languages that can be used, that people can use to train their models. And we're actually going to be collecting much more as part of this national language mission. And whether it is data for translation or whether it's data for automatic speech recognition, or whether it's data for text to speech, or things like named entity recognition or question answering in Indian languages. So we're actually collecting data sets, and we have basically a 22 language strategy that at least all the official languages will be supported in this thing. And beyond that also, maybe we may move beyond that. And so we start with data sets, and then we look at models. And I think we are looking at some of the, we're building models for each one of these things and having models, and we're creating benchmarks so that these models can get better over time. And that's really the intent here. And the intent is to actually create an ecosystem of people who are actually building models using these data sets, and the benchmarks are running all the time. And we hope that can actually significantly improve the quality of the core technology. And then the next part is, of course, is how can this core technology get integrated into apps and things like that. And we're doing some things in that area as well.
So thanks, Vivek. Great having you on the show. We'll look forward to all of these things as they start to go live.
Absolutely. Look forward to that. And I hope that we see a revolution in Indian language AI technology over the next couple of years. Thanks so much for having me on.
Subscribe now. wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. Do you have a question you would like answered? Or is there a guest you would like featured? Do write to us. We are on Twitter at Bharat_Fund or on LinkedIn at Bharat Innovation Fund. Learn more about us at bharat.fund.